Well, here at home, retailers are being warned to be extra vigilant when handling cash as the busy festive season approaches. Data collected by cash management company Cash Connect shows that retail robberies increased by 7% in the first 8 months of the year. Well, Cash Connect CEO Richard Phillips is joining us now from our studios in Durban. Mr. Phillips, good morning and thank you very much for your time. Recently, you organized what you was described as a solution-driven event where you had government people, police people taking part with Cash Connect, of course, highlighting the fact that we are facing a lot of robberies where cash is being targeted. How bad is the situation?
Well, it's increased quite significantly year on year. It's been on an upward spiral for years, and the point we were trying to make was that the cash and transit industry has dominated the news in recent months, and cash is central to that crime. And in fact, the retail sector of our economy is equally under threat and under attack to the same extent and possibly even worse.
Now, the retailers are feeling the pinch as well, and things like ATMs. Your organization has suggested some possible ways of dealing with this. What do you think? What do you think the retailers should do to protect their cash?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that automating cash management processes within the store has proven to be a major deterrent against armed robbery, which is, of course, a very significant threat to our retailers. We've had over 2,000 cash-related crimes against retailers in the first 8 months of this year, and cash is central to the target. So automating cash management within the store and removing cash from the till drawers and from lying around being handled manually is a primary solution. But then we go further and we believe from our discussions with everybody that it's a collective responsibility. So apart from pointing fingers at the police and the justice cluster to address crime in the retail sector, we acknowledge that the retailers themselves have a major role to play. And things like ensuring that one's closed-circuit television systems are properly focused and properly recording the images of people moving in the stores, and the intruder alarm systems, the intruder detection systems are properly monitored and maintained, are critical components of contribution that the retailer can make towards assisting the collective in addressing crime in this space.
Well, automation, is it affordable? I mean, according to the stats that we've seen that you've referred to, 78% of the victims are SMMEs, the small and medium enterprises. If you're going automation, you're going technology, it can be costly.
That's a myth. That's a myth. So we're able to prove conclusively that the cost of automating and managing cash and removing risk in that way is as much as 50% cheaper than the old-style manual counting and reconciliation of cash, which takes place in a huge number of retailers still to this day. Because the manual processes require people to check people to check people. It requires cash to circulate within the store. There is a high level of shrinkage that's involved, either deliberately or unintentionally. So there are a whole lot of associated costs with manual management of cash, which are eliminated by the automation process.
Okay, there's a human factor. We've had reports, we've seen reports where the MEC for safety in Gauteng, Mrs. Nkosi Malobane, saying that 60% of the criminals are within. Then you have to consider that human factor of the responsibility of the business person, the retailer, to vet their employees. Would you agree with that sentiment?
I would certainly agree with it, and it must be seen within the context of the fact that we're actually talking about organized crime, syndicated organized crime. The same kind of bandits and gangs that are orchestrating the attacks against the armored trucks on the streets of South Africa are the same people that plan and execute these attacks against cash in the retail space. So they don't just ad lib these attacks. They're very carefully planned. We have evidence of planning that goes back as much as 6 months prior to an attack. And part of that equation is soliciting information from inside of the target and understanding when the cash is available at the most opportune time in order that they can plan and execute these robberies with the highest level of efficiency as possible. So it is a very real feature of the landscape.
Okay, finally, Mr. Phillips, we're 2 months away from the height of the festive season. Christmas is knocking on our doors slowly. What would you want to see? What would your organization want your fellow retailers and others who are handling cash to really be focusing on in the next 3 months or so as we build up to December?
Well, first and foremost, we honestly believe from all of the stats that we have at our disposal that automating your cash, if you're not automated, it's essential that a retailer automates his cash, not only from a deterrent point of view and a risk management point of view, but it's become the most efficient way to manage the cash operations within any store. It adds huge value to the business. And then secondly, that you involve the staff in your protective processes. Let everybody know how efficient and how well you're protecting your cash. And in that way, the message gets out to the bandits, and they will seek softer, more vulnerable targets elsewhere. So you're effectively deflecting these bandits from your store. And then lastly, of course, back to my point about closed-circuit television, the aids that are available in almost every store in the country, if maintained and properly managed, can assist the police greatly when they are called upon to investigate crimes of this nature.
Thank you very much. That's Cash Connect CEO Richard Phillips joining us now then from our studios in Durban on the measures that retailers should be able to take in protecting their cash as we head towards the festive season. It's going to be very important, part of that we watch our cash.